You've been mid-sentence in a conversation and completely lost the thread, not from distraction, but as if the thought was pulled away before you could catch it. You've opened the same article or video 3 separate times this week without finishing it. At least once, you found yourself explaining something to someone and realized halfway through that you were actually convincing yourself. That pattern has a name: pre-convergence cognitive acceleration, the mind running faster than the moment can contain. Most people assume they're scattered or unfocused and try to slow down or simplify. That's the wrong response. Slowing down right now interrupts a process that's actually building towards something. What you've been registering is the moon's conjunction with Capella arriving early in your system. The peak hits tonight, with the moon aligning with this golden fixed star at 81 degrees and 15 arc minutes. And there's something about this particular configuration that doesn't just accelerate thought, it selects for it. The question is what, exactly, your mind has been circling without landing on. It's 10:30 p.m. and your nervous system is humming like a struck tuning fork. Your hands carry an electric restlessness, fingers wanting to type, write, or turn pages. That heightened alertness isn't insomnia, it's your consciousness expanding to receive Capella's transmission. The typical explanation would be stress, Mercury retrograde, or too much caffeine. But what if this mental acceleration is actually your system preparing for something rare? What if the very restlessness you've been fighting is the frequency you're meant to tune into? Tonight, the moon reaches exact conjunction with Capella at 81 degrees and 15 arc minutes in the mutable air sign, a stellar contact that hasn't occurred with this precision since last month's cycle. This isn't just any fixed star. Capella burns as the 6th brightest star in our sky, carrying the archetype of the eternal student, the lantern bearer who illuminates what others cannot yet see. When the moon, keeper of instinct and emotional memory, touches this ancient light in mercurial territory, your inner world doesn't just speed up, it transforms into a receiving station for knowledge your conscious mind hasn't requested yet. The conjunction occurs in the 3rd decan of the mutable air sign, where Mercury's influence reaches its most refined expression. Capella itself sits at 21 degrees and 52 arc minutes, making this a close approach that activates both the lunar emotional body and the stellar wisdom frequency simultaneously. This golden giant star, burning at over 4,000 degrees Kelvin, represents the fusion of intellectual curiosity with practical application, the teacher who learns through teaching, the student who discovers through questioning. What makes tonight's configuration particularly potent is the moon's waxing phase at 73% illumination, creating optimal conditions for receiving and integrating new information. The lunar light acts as a magnifying lens for Capella's transmission, amplifying the star's natural tendency to accelerate learning and expand mental capacity. You're not just thinking faster, you're thinking differently, accessing neural pathways that have been dormant until this precise celestial moment. Stay with me until the end of this reading, because what I'll reveal in the final minutes about your next cosmic window will determine whether this acceleration becomes sustainable wisdom or burns out in scattered fragments. Right now, 3 distinct types of people are feeling this stellar contact most intensely. If you've been reaching out to old teachers, mentors, or forgotten friends this week without knowing exactly why. If conversations are flowing with unusual depth and your questions are surprising even you're in the first wave. If you've been consuming information at an almost compulsive rate, switching between subjects but sensing an underlying thread connecting them all, you're in the second. And if you've been experiencing vivid dreams that feel like encrypted messages, or sudden curiosity about subjects you'd written off as irrelevant, you're in the third. Wherever you recognize yourself in that spectrum, tonight's Moon Capella conjunction carries a specific transmission for your path forward. Here's the first thing your body is telling you right now. Stop. Feel that pulse in your chest. not your heartbeat, but the flutter just beneath your sternum when you encounter a piece of information that makes you lean forward. That sensation is your nervous system recognizing truth before your conscious mind can categorize it. The stars whisper secrets through the body first, and tonight that whisper has become a clear signal. Your intellectual restlessness isn't random. It's your soul reaching for knowledge it needs for the next phase of your journey. The acceleration you're experiencing operates on multiple levels simultaneously. Your conscious mind processes information faster, but more importantly, your unconscious mind begins making connections between seemingly unrelated concepts. This is Capella's signature gift, the ability to see patterns that exist beneath the surface of ordinary thinking. The golden light of this ancient star doesn't just illuminate what you already know. It reveals the hidden relationships between different areas of your knowledge, creating those sudden moments of understanding that feel like puzzle pieces clicking into place. Notice how your sleep patterns have shifted lately. Not insomnia exactly, but a different quality of wakefulness. Your dreams have been carrying more weight, sometimes feeling more real than your waking hours. This isn't your mind overworking. It's your consciousness expanding to accommodate what Capella wants to teach you. The moon records everything, every conversation, every fragment of text, every fleeting insight, and under Capella's influence, these recordings are being processed at an accelerated rate. The questions multiplying in your mind aren't distractions, they're breadcrumbs leading you toward a breakthrough that's been building for weeks. Just over an hour before this Capella conjunction peaked, the moon brushed Bellatrix, Orion's fierce feminine shoulder, seeding a flash of bold, sometimes blunt communication. That warrior star contact was the opening chord. Capella now answers with the fuller, wiser melody. If you felt an unusual urge to speak your truth earlier this week, if words came out with more force or clarity than you expected, that was Bellatrix sharpening your tongue and testing your courage for honest speech. Tonight's conjunction completes what that transit began, transforming raw truth-telling into wisdom sharing. The compression you felt building over the past several days wasn't meant to break you down. It was accumulating the precise pressure needed for tonight's breakthrough into expanded understanding. Think of it as a cosmic pressure cooker. The intensity you've been feeling was necessary to create the conditions for rapid transformation. The restlessness, the mental acceleration, even the slight anxiety about keeping up with your own thoughts. All of this was preparation for the moment when Capella's wisdom frequency could be fully received and integrated. Those of you who have been drawn to learning new languages, studying ancient texts, or diving deep into subjects that seemed irrelevant to your practical life are feeling the strongest pull from tonight's conjunction. Your third house of immediate learning and ninth house of higher wisdom are both activated by this stellar contact, creating a direct channel between everyday information and profound understanding. The knowledge you're seeking isn't just for personal enrichment. It's preparing you to serve as a bridge between different worlds of understanding. You've been struggling recently with the feeling that you know more than you can organize, that insights are coming faster than you can integrate them. This isn't mental scatter, it's download acceleration. Your nervous system is literally upgrading its capacity to process and synthesize information. The overwhelm you've been feeling is temporary. Your consciousness is expanding to accommodate a broader spectrum of knowledge and understanding. The exact Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees in the cardinal fire sign on February 20th, 2026, remains in tight orb until August 2026. This window is historically when structural illusions collapse. Documented market corrections in 1989 and 2007 occurred under the same configuration. Don't base any decision on unverifiable promises before September. Externally, expect recognition for ideas you've been developing in private. Your ability to synthesize complex information into accessible wisdom becomes your calling card. Conversations that seemed casual last week circle back with concrete opportunities attached. Your restless mind isn't seeking distraction anymore. It's seeking its rightful role as teacher, translator, and bridge builder between worlds of knowledge. The mental agility you've been developing through this period of acceleration will soon find its practical application. Someone in a position of authority is about to notice not just what you know, but how you think. Your unique approach to solving problems and making connections that others miss. This is your intellectual renaissance. The golden light of Capella illuminates not just what you're learning, but why you're learning it. Your curiosity has been guided by a deeper intelligence that knows exactly what knowledge you'll need for the opportunities approaching. Trust the process of expansion, even when it feels overwhelming. Your consciousness is preparing for a level of contribution you haven't imagined yet. If right now you find yourself caught between your need for philosophical depth and your frustration with surface-level interactions, tonight's configuration shows you how to bring wisdom into everyday conversation without losing its essence. This Moon-Capella conjunction activates your 7th house of partnerships and 3rd house of immediate communication, revealing how your search for meaning has been isolating you from the very connections that could expand your understanding. Tonight's configuration shows you how to bring wisdom into everyday conversation without losing its essence. The opposition energy between the mutable air sign and the mutable fire sign transforms from tension into dynamic exchange. Your 9th house of higher learning receives Capella's transmission through the moon's reflection, meaning the knowledge you seek is available through dialogue, not just solitary study. You've been carrying the weight of big questions alone, assuming that others wouldn't understand or appreciate the depth of what you're exploring. But Capella's influence reveals that wisdom shared becomes wisdom multiplied. The philosophical insights you've been developing in isolation are meant to be tested and refined through interaction with others. Your role isn't to be the solitary sage on the mountaintop, it's to be the teacher who learns through teaching. Externally, a conversation with someone whose perspective initially seems limited will reveal layers of insight you hadn't expected. Your ability to ask the right questions unlocks information that transforms both of your worldviews. The mentor you've been seeking appears in an unlikely form, possibly someone younger, definitely someone whose approach differs from yours. Don't dismiss the wisdom that comes wrapped in unfamiliar packaging. Internally, you stop requiring others to match your philosophical intensity and start recognizing wisdom in all its forms. Your journey toward truth becomes collaborative rather than solitary. The books and teachings that have been feeding your soul are preparing you to nourish others, but not through preaching, through genuine curiosity about their experiences and perspectives. Your moment to teach by learning and learn by teaching has arrived. The questions that have been burning in your consciousness are meant to be shared, not hoarded. When you speak your truth with genuine interest in dialogue rather than monologue, you create space for the kind of meaningful exchange you've been craving. So far, we've explored how Capella's stellar light is accelerating the mental realm and activating dormant curiosities. You can already feel it when your hands reach for a pen without conscious intention, when questions emerge mid-conversation that surprise even you. But there's something we haven't addressed yet. What happens when this acceleration meets the ego's need for control? Those of you who have been perfecting something in private, assuming it wasn't ready for wider attention, are receiving a different message from tonight's stellar contact. The moon's conjunction with Capella lights up your 10th house of reputation and 3rd house of skills, showing you how your meticulous attention to detail has been preparing you for a moment of public recognition. Tonight's stellar contact says otherwise. Your analytical gifts meet Capella's teaching energy in your house of career and long-term goals, suggesting that your expertise is about to find its platform. The knowledge you've been quietly accumulating has reached the point where others need to hear it. Your perfectionist tendencies have been serving a purpose, ensuring that when you do step forward, your contribution will be both accurate and valuable. The skill you've been developing behind the scenes, the subject you've been studying without telling anyone, the project you've been refining until it meets your exacting standards, all of this has been preparation for a moment of emergence. Capella's influence doesn't just accelerate learning, it creates opportunities for that learning to be recognized and valued by others. Externally, someone in a position of authority notices the quality of your work and the clarity of your communication. Your reputation for reliability expands into recognition for insight. A skill you've been developing behind the scenes becomes the foundation for a new level of professional respect. Your ability to make complex information practical and actionable opens doors you hadn't even considered knocking on. The precision you bring to everything you do has been building toward this moment when precision becomes valuable to others. Your natural inclination to research thoroughly, to understand the details that others overlook, to present information in organized and accessible ways, these aren't just personal quirks, they're professional assets that are about to be recognized and rewarded. Internally, you release the perfectionist standard that's been keeping your gifts in hiding. Your knowledge doesn't need to be complete to be valuable. The expertise you've been accumulating is ready for application, even if it doesn't feel finished to you. This is your emergence from preparation into presentation, from private study into public contribution. Your hands want to move right now. They want to write, type, create something tangible from the ideas swirling in your mental space. That's not nervous energy. That's the mutable air sign responding to Capella's call to manifest thought into form. The urge to teach, explain, or share what you're learning has intensified because this conjunction awakens the messenger archetype within you. You're not just receiving information, you're being prepared to transmit it. The conversations you'll have over the next 3 days will plant seeds that grow into opportunities you cannot imagine from your current vantage point. The timing is written in the sky, and you are exactly where you need to be to receive it. But here's where the energy can turn destructive if not properly channeled. The mutable air element, amplified by Capella's stellar brightness, risks fragmenting focus into pure stimulation. The mind becomes a browser with too many tabs, impressive in scope, shallow in depth. Guard against mistaking information for wisdom and chatter for connection. Tonight's conjunction can seduce you into believing that consuming knowledge equals understanding it, that discussing ideas substitutes for implementing them. The shadow expression shows up as intellectual superiority, using your accelerated learning to demonstrate cleverness rather than serve genuine understanding. You might find yourself interrupting others to share what you just learned, or dismissing their perspectives because your information feels more current. The energy flows like water, but water without a container becomes flood. The same stellar influence that can expand your consciousness into profound wisdom can also scatter your attention across so many subjects that nothing gets properly integrated. You risk becoming a collector of interesting facts rather than a synthesizer of meaningful knowledge. Before making any major communication, especially if it involves teaching, writing, or public speaking, ask yourself 3 diagnostic questions. Am I sharing this to serve understanding or to demonstrate my intelligence? Does this information connect to something practical in my life or someone else's? Have I given myself time to digest what I've learned, or am I still in consumption mode? The difference between bold action and blind action tonight lies in the pause between knowing and speaking. Capella's wisdom isn't just about learning faster, it's about learning better, with discernment and purpose. The acceleration you're experiencing is meant to serve something greater than intellectual entertainment. We've traced the moon's conjunction with Capella from mental acceleration through practical application. The stellar frequency is at its peak right now, and your nervous system is recording everything. But here's what determines whether this becomes lasting wisdom or fleeting stimulation: your willingness to choose depth over breadth in the next 72 hours. The temptation will be strong to explore every interesting tangent, to follow every fascinating link, to engage with every intriguing conversation. But Capella's greatest gift comes through sustained focus rather than scattered attention. The star's ancient wisdom teaches that mastery emerges through devotion, not through sampling. First, follow one thread completely rather than sampling many. The urge to research multiple topics simultaneously will be strong tonight, but Capella rewards devotion over exploration. Choose the subject or question that hums with the most energy and commit to it fully. Let other curiosities wait in the peripheral vision without abandoning your primary focus. This isn't about limiting your interests, it's about honoring the depth that creates lasting understanding. The thread you choose should be the one that connects to your deeper purpose, not just your immediate curiosity. Ask yourself which subject or skill would serve not only your personal growth, but also your ability to contribute meaningfully to others. Capella's influence is strongest when learning serves both individual development and collective wisdom. Second, engage in conversation with someone whose knowledge complements yours rather than mirrors it. The moon in the mutable air sign seeks reflection, but Capella seeks synthesis. Find someone who knows what you don't and create space for genuine exchange rather than parallel monologues. Your learning accelerates through dialogue that challenges your assumptions and expands your perspective. This isn't about finding someone to teach or someone to learn from. It's about finding someone to think with. The best conversations under Capella's influence are collaborative explorations where both participants discover something new through the process of exchange. Look for the person whose questions spark new insights in you, whose perspective reveals blind spots in your thinking. Third, document your questions before seeking answers. Tonight's energy generates questions faster than you can investigate them. Write them down without immediately rushing towards solutions. The quality of your questions tonight reveals the direction of your next learning phase. Some questions are meant to live with you for weeks before revealing their answers. The act of writing them down honors their importance while preventing them from creating mental clutter. The questions arising tonight aren't random. They're emerging from the intersection of your current knowledge and your soul's deeper curriculum. Pay attention to which questions feel most alive, most urgent, most connected to your authentic interests rather than your surface curiosities. These are the questions that will guide your learning journey long after tonight's conjunction has passed. And finally, practice intellectual humility by teaching something you've recently learned to someone who knows less about it than you do. The act of translation forces depth and reveals the gaps in your own understanding. Capella's greatest gift isn't accumulating knowledge, it's making knowledge useful to others. When you attempt to explain a concept to someone else, you quickly discover which parts you truly understand and which parts you've only memorized. This process of teaching reveals the difference between information and wisdom. The struggle to find the right words, to choose the most helpful examples, to respond to questions you hadn't considered, this is where real learning happens. Choose someone who genuinely wants to understand, not someone who just wants to be impressed. The goal isn't to demonstrate your expertise, but to serve their learning. In the process, you'll discover that teaching is the fastest way to deepen your own understanding. This Moon-Capella conjunction occurs within the larger context of structural transformation and collective awakening happening throughout 2026. While slow-moving outer planets continue redefining the foundations of how we live and work together, tonight's stellar contact briefly illuminates the personal mind within this larger civilizational rewiring. You are carrying a single candle through a cathedral under renovation. Your individual learning serves something far greater than personal advancement. The questions arising in your consciousness tonight are not random. They are your part in the larger conversation humanity needs to have with itself. The subjects that capture your attention, the skills you feel called to develop, the knowledge you're driven to acquire, all of this is connected to the collective intelligence that's emerging through individuals like you who are willing to learn, grow, and share what they discover. The moon returns to conjunct Capella again on the 15th of June, 2026 at 07 UTC, offering a second pass through this stellar gateway within the same nocturnal window, a rare double knock from the same star. What you plant tonight in the soil of your curiosity will have grown substantial roots by that second conjunction. The learning you begin now will have time to mature, deepen, and find its practical application before the next opportunity for stellar acceleration arrives. How will you use this window of accelerated learning? What questions will you carry forward? What knowledge wants to move through you into the world? The cosmic timing supports bold intellectual leaps, but only if you're willing to land them with sustained attention rather than scattering into the next bright distraction. The golden light of Capella doesn't just illuminate what you need to learn, it reveals why you need to learn it. Your curiosity isn't random, it's guided by an intelligence that sees the bigger picture of your life's contribution. Trust the subjects that call to you, even if their practical value isn't immediately obvious. The knowledge you're gathering now is preparing you for opportunities that haven't yet appeared on your horizon. Between June 18 and June 20, Mercury forms its exact square to Saturn, a configuration that will either anchor tonight's insights into practical application or reveal them as mere mental entertainment. You earn recognition, authority, and lasting prestige. Arrogance isolates you, and your reputation crumbles publicly. C'est binaire. There is no middle ground when intellectual acceleration meets structural reality. What determines which side you land on is whether you lead with earned confidence or hollow pride. Je te donne la mécanique précise dans la prochaine vidéo. The secret the moon has been whispering is this: your restlessness tonight is not distraction, it is direction. Capella's light, now touching the moon in the mutable air sign, has been amplifying every question, every spark, every thread pulling at your attention. That hunger you felt watching this. It was the sky speaking directly to you. When feeling and intellect converge under a fixed star this ancient, what you receive has staying power. One insight absorbed deeply tonight is worth 100 scrolled past without reflection. Let that land. You are not scattered, you are expanding. The questions you carry into sleep tonight will work in you quietly, returning tomorrow as clarity, connection, and unexpected understanding. The sky opened, you stayed, that matters. Light a yellow or gold candle at dusk, sit with the flame, and let your mind wander through the subjects that have been calling to you. Don't force insights. Simply create space for Capella's wisdom to settle into your consciousness. The answers you seek are already forming in the quiet spaces between thoughts. Under tonight's Moon Capella alignment, what subject or skill have you quietly set aside and felt the pull to return to? Drop just one word in the comments below.